Stephen Johnson covers TCU, SMU, the Frogs, and the Ponies. Stephen Johnson, the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, joins us on 365 Sports. Stephen, thank you very much for your time. This rivalry, there's I don't know about turf war, but this thing's gotten nasty over the last couple of years. I know you're new to it. Has it been kind of a more calm week with Dykes now at TCU and Lashley at SMU?
I don't necessarily think so. We had the bye week last week, so it's kind of chill here around Fort Worth. But at the start of this week, just kind of seeing some of the chat I've been seeing on social media, I can tell Saturday's going to be very emotional. Even the mayor of Dallas replied to a tweet of mine saying he sees it at Fort Worth versus Dallas. So I think the emotion will be maybe higher than usual. SMU's won 2 in a row. Sonny Dykes is at TCU now. He brought over an offensive lineman with him and most of that coaching staff. So there are just so many storylines, man. I think it's going to be an intense one Saturday.
Will Garrett Morris, the son of a former SMU coach, start? Chandler Morris?
No, he's been ruled out. He suffered a sprained knee against Colorado in that second half in the season opener. So Sonny Dykes confirmed he'll be out. So it'll be Max Duggan once again leading the offense again on Saturday.
So, Stephen, what have you seen from Max Duggan in the snaps that he's received?
Well, like the competition hasn't been great.
Right.
Tarleton's obviously FCS. Colorado, they might be the worst team in the country, man. But he's looked good, man. I think some stats from PFL, Pro Football Focus, show he's been one of the leading Power 5 quarterbacks just in terms of his efficiency, especially down the field. So, I mean, it looks like he's comfortable in this offense. I think TCU has a bit of a luxury saying, hey, your quote-unquote backup quarterback is a guy that started 30-plus games, or 30 games, that is. So he's looked good, but obviously the challenge, the difficulty is about to be ratcheted up because this will be TCU's first real test. So I think TCU's still in a good spot, but I'm curious to see how they do when they're playing the team with kind of similar talent level now.
Yeah, and they have been able to cruise, and Colorado is struggling. Tarleton State, that's not a surprise with the score right there. So how are the others around TCU, the playmakers, whether it's Trevius Hodges, Tomlinson, Johnston? How are they? Are they all doing what they're supposed to do, even though they've played really a weak schedule so far?
The only person, well, I think the running game has been looking pretty good. Like so far, you've gotten a little bit of everything from really the top 3 running backs: Kendre Miller, Amari Mercado, Imani Baylor, the guy they brought over from Louisiana over the summer, had a big run in the second half against Tarleton. So them and the offensive line have looked good. I would say, I think you would hope that Saturday is going to be that breakout game for Quentin Johnson. I think he only has maybe 40 yards combined so far. And look, he only played a series or 2 against Tarleton. The Colorado game was a little bit wacky because Chandler got hurt and then they were running the ball so well. So I think Saturday is a great opportunity. They're going to need a lot more than just 3 catches and 20 yards from Quentin Johnson Saturday. But defensively, they've been looking great. Competition hasn't been all that either, but Trevius Hodges Tomlinson, I think right now is graded as a top 10 corner by Pro Football Focus. They've only given up a couple points. So everybody has been looking good so far, but like I just said, they play Colorado and Tarleton, so they should be looking good. So I would say everybody's kind of doing what's expected of them, but now they'll have a chance to really prove something on Saturday.
How much of an advantage do you think it is that this coaching staff knows the roster across the way so well?
I think it certainly helps. Publicly, Sonny and everybody's saying the right things like, hey, we know the personnel. Hey, they know our scheme. They think they'll kind of cancel out. But I just think the fact that you know the tendencies, the weaknesses of guys like Tanner Mordecai or Rashid Rice, who's leading the country in receiving yards, Elijah Chapman defensively. I just think the fact that you know those guys, both who they are as people and who they are as players, I have a hard time seeing that not being some type of advantage piece you can take advantage of. So will it be the deciding factor in the game? I don't know, but I think it definitely helps TCU from a preparation standpoint, knowing that not only do we got the head coach, he's brought over his OC, his O-line coach, and even one of the best linemen from the program last year. So I think it will help. But if they're going to win, it's going to be about what they end up doing, what they end up executing, not necessarily the fact that they kind of have that insider knowledge in my mind.
Stephen, what has Sonny Dykes said about, facing his old team? I mean, obviously he's at the kind of the center of this whole thing. I'm sure he's been cordial and respectful, but has there been really anything on his end that's added any spice or any sort of intrigue to this contest?
Not at all. He's avoided, I think, anything controversial, anything like that. This morning he told us he expects to be booed, and he told us, "Hey, if I bought the ticket to the game, I would boo me too." So in a way, I honestly think he's going to enjoy that environment. Like, he's expecting the boos. He's not expecting to get a standing ovation or anything like that. So while he hasn't added to the fire, I think he's ready to bring his troops into the fire and see what type of atmosphere they have at Ford Stadium. This will be my first football game there, so I'm curious to see how the environment ends up looking. Are there going to be a lot of TCU people there? Is SMU going to kind of sell it out? So I think we're all ready to see what the atmosphere is like on Saturday.
Duggan is a guy that can hurt you with his feet as much as he can with his arm. Is with Sonny Dykes, do they still want him to be multi-dimensional, dual threat?
I think absolutely. I think the quarterback run game, especially with Chandler being out, is going to be a kind of like a bigger emphasis for this offense now. I'm not sure how long Chandler will be out, but Max is one of those guys, man. He's one of those players. Have you heard of the players that they need to get hit once or twice during the game, and it kind of really gets them going? Max is one of those guys, and I just think the fact that he brings so much value as a runner, whether it's scrambling or in a quarterback run game, it's only going to help TCU in this game, especially because Maryland, they had a lot of success running the ball, running those RPO actions with Tua's little brother. They ended up able to win that game. So I think that will help out TCU, knowing Max is a dual threat and knowing Max can hurt them with both his arm and his legs.
How big are the returns in your mind of Bud Clark and Marcel Brooks on defense?
Well, Bud Clark's going to be huge. Like I said, Abe Kamara has filled in fine at the free safety spot. Obviously, like you said, we keep saying that. Yeah, that's against Colorado and Tarleton, but when you're going against one like a pass-happy offense that has one of the best receivers in the country, you want your secondary to be fully loaded, fully healthy. He hasn't played at all. He was one of those guys that was having a really strong camp. Honestly, the last practice we saw him, he had a pick six, and then he was injured the next day. So I know they're excited about his potential return. Marcel Brooks is going to be a game-time decision, but right now they just need bodies at the linebacker position. So I think that's definitely going to help them as well, too. He's a former five-star kid. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I interrupted you accidentally.
Yeah, he's a former five-star kid. For the first time, they really feel like he was committed to the weight room. He looks like he's about 200, 205 to 210 now. So if he's back, it's only going to help the team because if they have any more significant injuries at linebacker, they're going to start moving some pieces around.
Henry Miller, I was going to bring him up. What a great story. He came from a little 2A school, Mount Enterprise, overlooked. That's one of the things that Patterson and TCU has to do. Baylor has to do that. Among other schools, you got to find those diamonds in the rough that sometimes are at very, very small schools. He has been fantastic for TCU. And have you had a chance to visit with him very much?
Yeah, we talked to him a couple times. We have a chance to really talk with everybody. And I think he does have a great story. I think coming over from Memphis, I was aware of Zach Evans. He was a five-star kid, went to the big school, state champion at North Shore. But when I started digging into the stats, I was like, this Miller kid almost produced the exact same numbers as he did, even after he left or was shut down or whatever happened. So I do think he's a great story. He's RB1. He's kind of the leader of that room. He's a big, strong kid, but I think he has some really good speed as well to it. So I think he's a bit of the complete package. So he's been a joy to cover so far, man, and it'll be really interesting to see. They've been rotating him out these first two games, but I think this will be maybe one of those games where you see Miller get up to maybe 20 or so carries.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Great to have you on. Stephen Johnson, Fort Worth Star-Telegram, covers TCU, came in over the summer.